In this final installment, we will be looking at all of the resources you'll need to educate yourself about this miracle plant, as well as the beginning of a much wider understanding about the current state of our world. This will include recommended books, essays, and documentaries, all of which can be instrumental in passing this information on to others. There will also be a look at some of the cannabis organisations and lobbying groups that have up-to-date information about the laws and other news in the world of cannabis, as well as retailers and farmers producing and selling cannabis and hemp-related products. All of them could do with our support. And finally, a guide to using hemp in your diet, starting today. So this will be our final episode entitled, What Can I Do About It? So obviously, as I've already kind of mentioned, a big part of the solution really is educating yourself, and only once you educate yourself then can you pass that on to others. So obviously something that's vital to that is information. So these are some of the books that I've actually used to create this presentation. What I would say is if you want to download these actual slides, every single one of these actually has a link embedded in this presentation that will take you straight to a place where you can purchase this book or get a copy for free. It's the same with the documentaries and all the other bits and links and stuff that you've seen throughout these episodes. You can actually download this whole presentation and have all the links embedded in it. There'll also be a resource document that I'm going to have downloadable alongside this as well. So obviously, again, all the links, all the books, everything will be there, so that can help you to start your journey. So as I said, these are some of the books that I've used to actually create these episodes or this presentation. So I'll just go through a few of these. Of course, the first one is The Emperor Wears No Clothes by Jack Herer. This book has been considered the Bible of hemp, and Jack himself is often referred to as the Emperor of Hemp. He's responsible for the resurgence of this historical evidence of the use of hemp in the modern day. The huge amount of research Jack did in order to create this book was also ingeniously added as an appendix to the book. So the majority of the editions, not the 12th edition, so don't buy that one, but all other editions allowed the reader to dive into the research without the need for visiting a library or researching online. Jack also, just so you know, founded and served as the director of Hemp, which was help end marijuana prohibition. The second book here is The Great Book of Hemp by Rowan Robinson. He is a writer, journalist and explorer who first learned of the many uses of hemp whilst living in Kashmir in the 1950s. He has been a hemp activist ever since. He also wrote a pocket-sized version called The Hemp Manifesto, 101 Ways Hemp Can Save Our World, which around 100 pages is an ideal way to pass information on to anyone and everyone. The next book is The Hemp Lifeline to the Future, and that's by Chris Conrad. Chris Conrad is an author, activist, curator, publisher, and court-recognised expert in cannabis cultivation and use. He's played a key role in the shaping of the modern industrial and medical cannabis reform movements. He was co-founder and first president of the Hemp Industries Association and founder of the Business Alliance in Commerce and Hemp. He was also a signature gathering coordinator for Proposition 215, which was the volunteer effort which made California the first US state to legalize the medical use of cannabis. The December 1999 issue of High Times ranked Conrad number 10 on the list of the top 25 living legends in the battle for legal cannabis. The next book is Weed of Wonder, and that's a collaborative effort written by Jules Marshall and Flores Lundberg in cooperation with Ben Dronkers and Gerbrand Korvar. Ben Dronkers was the founder of Sensi Seed Company and the Hash Cannabis Hemp Museum, which is considered the largest permanent exhibition of artifacts related to cannabis and hemp. Gerbrand Korvar is a Dutch art historian and curator, best known as the creator and manager of the Hash, Marijuana and Hemp Museums in Amsterdam and Barcelona. So then the bottom 5 books here are about either for hemp for health or as a medicine, and then also as hemp as a building material, and then of course the also aforementioned alcohol can be a gas. So this is obviously it's a good few books there, but they all really help you to see this whole picture of what I've tried to outline, and I would highly recommend every single one of them. Next, we're just going to have a quick look at some of the documentaries. So again, for people who are maybe new to these topics, or wouldn't necessarily sit there and read a couple 100-page book, I think this is a perfect way to introduce just ordinary people to this kind of information. So this is the list of highly recommended documentaries about cannabis and hemp, but also about the war on drugs in general. The top two documentaries about lives of two very influential cannabis heroes, which I've already mentioned, Jack Herer, the hemper himself, and Rick Simpson with his famous RSO, or Rick Simpson oil. The Hemp Solution is a great documentary outlining all the many uses of hemp. Bringing It Home is looking at the efforts in the US to make hemp legal again. This was before the 2018 Farm Bill, and also takes a look at some of the farmers growing hemp in Europe, particularly in the UK. Most of the others are about the war on drugs and the ramifications for society of the continuing police state, as well as some of the medical uses of cannabis, especially the last one, what if cannabis cured cancer? The Culture High has some very famous faces in it, such as Howard Marks, Joe Rogan, Snoop Dogg and Richard Branson, as well as Professor David Nutt, who was the ex-drug advisor to the UK government. Dr. Gabor Mate, a well-known author and addiction specialist, and Dr. Lester Grinspoon, who was a professor of psychiatry at Harvard University, as well as many other professionals involved in aspects of the drug war, police, intelligence, law, social sciences and government. Most of these documentaries are available for free on YouTube or can be streamed via certain streaming platforms. Again, my resource document has links to all of these as well. So yeah, I highly recommend going and checking these out. I've mentioned a quote from it. I think The House I Live In is probably one of my biggest recommended documentaries for trying to understand the war on drugs. At the end of that documentary, there's about a 20-minute clip or so, which I think has probably got it's probably just the best explanation I've ever heard for the true reasonings behind the war on drugs. So I highly recommend that one. Now we're just going to go on to some other reading. So these next couple of slides are some books and essays that I consider recommended reading to understand the current state of our world. It's mostly late 19th, 20th and 21st century history outlining the characters, events and ultimately the ideology that's helped to bring about the monopolistic control of society and the suppression of human freedom. The topics include natural law, government, the myth of authority, freedom, communism, central banks, imperialism, globalism, war, particularly World War I, psychology, propaganda, mind control / social engineering, technocracy, the medical establishment, the food system, big agri, and the educational systems. Just to say here, as with the documentaries I've suggested, all of these books and documentaries are available online for free, either on YouTube or PDF books from archive.org, which are all included in my resource document, as I said. When possible, I highly recommend supporting the creators of these works, whether that's buying a physical copy or supporting the authors or filmmakers in other ways, such as donating to their newest projects or recommending their work to others. So again, these are just a collection of books which are not directly related to cannabis or hemp, obviously, but they absolutely will help you to get a better understanding of the world around us. Now we're just going to look at some of the hemp and cannabis organizations. So if you'd like more information about cannabis hemp and you'd want to see some of the current laws and certain things that are going on at the moment, these would be places to go and check out. The top two are the British Hemp Alliance and the Cannabis Industry Council, are UK based. The Cannabis Industry Council website has a members tab where you can search for organisations within the UK and EU by their particular field within the cannabis industry. So for example, the Hemp tab provides all of the organisations that advocate for or are producing hemp products. The European Industry Hemp Association is the only pan-European membership organisation in the industrial hemp sector. They equally represent the interest of hemp producing and processing companies. The bottom two are US-based. The Hemp Industries Association is a non-profit trade group representing hemp companies, researchers and supporters in the US and Canada. The group petitions for fair and equal treatment of industrial hemp. Since 1994, the HIA has been dedicated to education, industry development and the accelerated expansion of hemp world market supply and demand. And then there's Vote Hemp, a Washington DC based grassroots non-profit working since 2000 to bring hemp farming back to the US. These are just a few of the many different advocacy groups and organisations all around the world promoting, educating and lobbying for the benefits of cannabis hemp. A simple search will provide you with some that are within your local area, and these could all obviously do with our support. Next, we're just going to look at some hemp retailers and suppliers. So these are some of the places I've used personally to buy hemp products. The first page is all just UK-based companies, and the second page will be other European and American companies. Again, I'm sure similar companies exist in other parts of the world selling similar products. Okay, so we've got hemp and organic. You've seen some of these, some of their products in these episodes as they've gone along. They're CBD oil and they're just hemp seed oil. So they're a not-for-profit workers cooperative based in Oxfordshire, selling UK hemp products such as hemp seed oil, CBD oil, and other cosmetics. There's the hemp company in Dublin, is Ireland's longest established and most reputable hemp and CBD business located in Dublin. It specialises in a wide range of hemp products, including CBD supplements, hemp food, clothing, accessories, and cosmetics. It also houses Ireland's first hemp museum, offering educational insights into the history and versatility of hemp. I was lucky about a week or so ago to visit Dublin and to go to the hemp company, and I actually purchased my first pair of 100% hemp trousers as well as a hemp towel. The Hemp Shop is the UK's longest running hemp retailer, selling clothes, fabric, rope, bags, food, cosmetics. If it's made of hemp, they sell it. Next is UK Hempcrete and Natural Building Store. That's the UK's market leader in hempcrete and other bio-based materials in construction. And there's East Yorkshire Hemp, which is a family-run business that grows and processes 500 acres of industrial hemp for use in sustainable construction, animal bedding, fibre for textiles, mattress, insulation, and even hemp briquettes for wood-burning stoves. And then finally is Margent Farm, a hemp farm in Cambridgeshire, committed to organic and regenerative practices, and also selling biocomposite panels for cladding made of hemp fibre and bioresin. Now, these are some companies that are from Europe or from America. There's 8,000 Kicks, a company in Portugal that specialises in 100% waterproof, vegan and hemp-made shoes, as well as other accessories such as backpacks, travel bags, hats, wallets, socks, and more. There's Hemp Age, which is a German-based hemp clothing company that sells very high-quality, fair and sustainable clothing made from 100% hemp, as well as hemp blends made with other natural fibres such as organic cotton. They produce a huge range of clothing for men and women that is not only better for the environment and the customer, but also of extremely high quality and fashionable. Next is Von Hanf, a German company that makes a variety of building materials made from fast-growing and natural raw materials like hemp. These include hemp stones, hemp building boards, hemp insulation boards, and hemp acoustic panels. Next is the Hemp Paper Company. This is a US company that makes paper packaging that is 100% tree-free, USDA certified, bio-based, and made from premium hemp fiber. They make all types of packaging like paper bags, cardboard boxes for all paper packaging needs. And then next there's Hemp Traders. It's a US wholesale supplier of hemp textiles and fiber products with over 30 years of industry experience. They sell literally every base product possible that is made from hemp, including fabric, rope, twine, fiber, herds, seed, industrial hemp seed oil, and building materials. And then finally, there's the Hemp Plastic Company. Is a US-based company specializing in providing an innovative hemp-blended biocomposite and bioplastic alternatives to plastic molders and manufacturers. Their hemp plastic can be used to make anything from parts and packaging to durables, containers, toys, and more. So obviously, again, a big part of this solution is to actually be buying and using this stuff every day and supporting the companies that obviously produce these products and the farmers that want to grow this stuff. So again, if you have the ability, if you own a farm and you have land, I highly recommend that you look into growing this. It's a very profitable crop. So yeah, when it's compared to other crops like wheat, for example, it can provide an income, especially when this thing can be dual cropped. That means that you can use you can crop it for its seed, and then you can also use it for its fiber. And as you can see, there's many different uses for it. So if you do own land, that would be a great, part of the solution. But for the rest of us who don't actually own land, just using these products every day and in all the various ways we can, that's obviously going to be a big part of the solution. Another one that I really want to get into is using it in your diet. So probably one of the easiest solutions that we can all implement immediately. And so a good one of those would be to buy whole hemp seed. So any decent whole food shop or even supermarkets these days would sell whole hemp seed. Obviously, that's just the seed with the outer shell taken off. The reason I say that is because it's just easier to add to any meal. You could add that to the top of your cereal or porridge. You could add it on top of your soup. You could add it on top of a salad. You could literally put it in any meal whatsoever, and it will add, protein and fat to that meal. Another one is obviously the hemp seed oil. That can just be used in the same way that any unheated oil would be. So again, for like a salad dressing or something along those lines. Obviously, it could also just be taken as a supplement all of its own. So again, this is an amazing way to begin to reap the health benefits of this miracle plant. So the whole seed can obviously also be eaten, and that, just as I say, the shell can be a bit tough. It can get stuck in your teeth. So ideally that would be roasted. So again, that can just be roasted as a snack or roasted with other vegetables and give it a bit of a texture to the food. And then obviously what I've always also mentioned, which is about hemp milk. So that can be done with either the whole seed or the hulled seed. With the hulled seed, it's easier because once you blend that up with milk, there's no other parts to sieve out. With the whole seed, it'll either settle all the shells to the bottom, or you'll have to literally process it by using a sieve or like a muslin to get that out. But ultimately, yeah, you just put a bit of the seed in, a couple of tablespoons in, fill it up with water and blend it for a minute, just in any kind of blender or a NutriBullet. And you've got hemp milk. It's really that easy. If you've got some hemp seed in your house and you have access to water, you can make hemp milk. Again, obviously, there's unfortunately not as many companies that are producing other products from it in the same way that you do with soy. There's a lot of meat alternatives and dairy alternatives like cheese. Unfortunately, there's not as many companies making that stuff out of hemp, but it's absolutely possible too. So if you're interested in that and you want to learn more about it, why not go and start up a company that's producing those kind of products? I think for now, that's probably all we've really got time for. As I say, adding this to your diet is just a simple thing that anyone can do tomorrow. So that is a huge solution, I think, that we can just, as I say, can just be instantly implemented in our lives. And there's really no excuse for not doing that. And as I say, your body will thank you for it. So again, I just want to say thanks very much for paying attention to this series. I hope that you've found it interesting as well as educational. And if you found this information useful and you think others might benefit from it, please do pass this on or recommend it to them. Thanks again. I hope much of the information in this last episode has been useful and will give you an easy starting point to begin your journey and advocacy of cannabis hemp. I want to thank you all for giving your time and attention to this series and hope that it's been interesting as well as educational. If you found it useful, please pass it on and recommend it to others. And please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. I will endeavour to respond to every inquiry. And then lastly, I'd just like to finish on a quote from obviously none other than Jack Herer. Quote, "If all fossil fuels and their derivatives, as well as deforestation of trees for paper and agriculture, are banned for use in order to save the planet and reverse the greenhouse effect, then there is only one known renewable natural resource able to provide the overall majority of our paper, textiles and food, meet all of our world's transportation, home and industrial energy needs, reduce pollution, rebuild the soil and clean the atmosphere, all at the same time. Our old standby that did it all before, cannabis hemp."